What is going on, guys? And this week on the Over to One channel, what I'm going to be talking to you guys about is part 2 of the Forex Trading for Beginners series that we have going on here. And the topic that I'm going to get into is on decision making. And before I really get into it, if you guys get value from this video or from our channel, I would really love for you guys to just like, comment, subscribe, share it to a friend, and help us grow the channel if you guys are getting value from it. So that's how we receive value from you guys. So with that being said, I'm just gonna jump right into the information. So the first point that I wanna talk about decision making, I've been reading a lot and studying a lot of Ray Dalio. And Ray Dalio is, in my opinion, one of the greatest investors of our time. And there's a whole boatload of reasons why I believe that this is, but I've actually been learning a lot from him recently and diving back into his book called Principles. Not everything that I'm going to talk about today is going to be from the book Principles, but I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Some of the things that I'm going to be talking about, I did learn from Ray. Okay, so the first point that I'm going to make is that whether you realize it or not, every single decision that you're making has some type of system involved with it. Okay, and it's either a good system that you intentionally developed or a system that you unintentionally developed that's probably, I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it could be bad, or it could just be mediocre because there was no intention behind you developing it. It just kind of accidentally happened, right? And that's the first paradigm shift that I want you guys to make, right? Is that no matter what system you're using right now, or no matter what decisions that you're making right now, rather you're using a system to generate these decisions, and it could either be a good system that you personally developed or a bad system, right? And I want you guys to think about this example, okay? And this part I did get from Ray's book, and I thought it was an amazing example, and I'm gonna give it to you guys. One of the things that he talked about was every single thing that you do, even down to the system that you use to brake in traffic to stop so that you don't hit the car out front of you, you have a thought process, you have a system that prevents you from hitting that car. Now I want you to sit and I want you to think, can I explain this system to somebody simply that I use to brake so that I don't hit the car out front of me, right? Most people probably can't explain that. And with your trading plan, when it comes to trading, your set of decisions that you're making, because that's really what it is, it needs to be a system that is literally so simple. I want you guys to think, can I explain this system that I follow, my thought process, every decision that I make to get into a trade, can I explain this to a 5-year-old, right? The same way that I would explain to a new driver, hey, look, I do X, Y, and Z to make sure that I don't hit the car in front of me when I stop. When you're understanding decision making is really 2 components. But I want you guys to write this equation in your notes if you guys are taking notes on this. Decision making equals learning plus deciding, right? Learning can be one of 3 ways. Learning can either be subconscious information that you already have. It could be in your memory bank, okay, so stored as memories, or it could be habitual. It could be habits. The second part of the equation is deciding. And what deciding really is it's just choosing which knowledge that you're gonna use out of all of that learned information that you have via habits, memories, or subconscious information. Another point that I wanna make is when you're going through this and you're deciding from this set of information, you need to be open-minded. And you also need to seek counsel from people who have been where you are and have what you want. These are people who, what they say out of their mouth tends to be believable. It's something that you can easily accept because they've already been where you are currently, and they've gotten to where you want to go. The next point that I'm going to talk about is how to actually learn well, right? The first step to learning well is something called synthesis. And what synthesis is it's very simple. It's just your ability to collect all of the information that there is out there, right? And then boil it down and get an accurate understanding of whatever the big picture is, okay? And if you can't get an accurate picture, if you can't synthesize information well, you're going to have a very hard time deciphering what's actually really happening and what's not. And we talk a lot about this actually in our course. We don't use the term synthesis, but we talk a lot about different biases that can actually cloud your judgment and get in your way when it comes to actually making decisions, when you truly believe that things are real that actually aren't real. A good example is when you're converting data into something that's an accurate representation or an accurate picture. The easiest way to think about this is, how are your trade ideas, right? And it's very easy to think that what you're doing is going to help you and is being of benefit to you. But like what I was talking about, there's different types of biases that can cloud your synthesis of this information and actually give you an inaccurate picture of how good you actually truly are at coming up with trade ideas. The importance of synthesis is because how good you are at synthesizing information is going to determine how good you are at making high quality decisions, right? And your goal is for your decision making to become exponentially better in whatever you're doing over a course of time. One of the things that we talk about a lot here at Overture One is trackability, right? And being able to take data and track it, because I truly believe what you track over time is going to grow. Just like in this example, if you track the quality of your decisions and how good you are actually synthesizing information and getting an accurate picture of what's actually happening, right? These skills, all these things that we're talking about, are going to gradually improve over time if you can track the quality of the outcomes of the decisions that you're making. These are going to be the top 3 things that I truly believe are outcomes that you should be tracking. Okay, and these outcomes, like I said, are going to be a result of how well you synthesize information and then make good decisions, right? And the first one is going to be your intended percentage gain. Okay, so that should be the first thing that you should be tracking. The second is your actual percentage gain. Okay, so the first one was what was your intended, what was your actual, okay? And you should be measuring the variation, the gap in between. If you intended to make 5% and you only made 3, you should be measuring the deviation between your intended and what actually happened, because that's a very, very important piece of information. And the last one, the third one, which I also find just as important as all the other ones, is your accuracy, right? And you can have very good risk to reward and mitigate the importance of accuracy, but imagine how much better you would be if you had high risk to reward and you were highly accurate and you didn't need to rely on one trade to consolidate a whole bunch of losses that you had, right? So track these 3 outcomes, okay? Intended percentage gain, actual percentage gain, and accuracy over the course of the next 30, 60, 90 days, and make measurable improvements on them within your trading plans. So I hope this video helped you guys out a lot, and I will see you guys on next week's video.